5, verse 16.
God.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Bahasham Yahushai.
Bahasham Yahushai.
Ahawa'ah.
Atanawa.
Raya.
Nechacha.
The water. Amen.
Amen.
Let's bless you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives to us the sweet savor. Thanks, so be it.
Right, so what we're saying in Hebrew, he's translating it in English and giving the understanding of why we light the candles and why we light the incense. Sister Evelyn. Renee, Sister Renee. Yeah, his was just explaining that as he was lighting the candle, he was giving the understanding that the light represents the wisdom and knowledge of the Most High. Right, so, and that's why he quoted the verse Matthew 5 and 16. Let our light shine before men that men may see our good works, and then we glorify the Father which is in heaven. So, that light represents the wisdom, and he's lighting the incense, which is showing us, which is the sweet incense, it goes up before the Most High. Did you read that? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so what I said in Hebrew was, bless you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives to us the sweet savor. Thanks, so be it. So the frankincense and myrrh represents our prayers going up to the Most High as a sweet savor. And you can read that in Psalms 141, verse 1 and verse 2. Yes, ma'am.
All right. I'm up. Let me see. All right, Majim, we'll put you out your shalom.
Stand in
Barakatah Yahweh. Bahasham Yahushai. Ahawa'ah. Atanawa. Hashabbat. Bashalom. The water. Amen.
We said was bless you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives to us the Sabbath in peace. Thanks, so be it.
This is Psalms 121. Anasha. Ayuya. Al. Havariyam. Na'aya. Yahuwa'ah. Isaiah. Yahuwa'ah. Mayahawa. Sha'aisha. Shemayim. Ba'arazaza. La'ah. Nathan. Namawah. Gloria, the one, to Shalom, Yasha'ala, Yahweh, Shemoya, Yahweh, Tezoya, Yunya, God, Hashemash, Yala'ah, Hakaya, Bayawam, Wala'ah, Halabana, Galayara, Yahweh, Yashamoya, Makol, Rab, Yashamoya, Napasha, Yahweh, Yashamoya, Yahweh, Yashamoya, Hamalakya, Wa'ayah, Ma'aitan, I will not. Amen.
This is Psalms chapter 121. I will lift up my eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. Do not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth, even forevermore. Amen.
Amen.
chapter 6 and verse 4.
This is the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew. Avnao, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Hayah, Shemkah, Yahweh, Malakwatkah, Taba'ah, Ratazaka, Hayah, Aisha, Ba'aratazah, Kowah, Hayah, Bashemayim, Ladonanoah, Lacham, Ko, Yawam, Basalaknoah, Karawaknoah, Kasalaknoah, Karawakyonoah, Walaha, Taminoah, Benesayawah, Obo, Hoshayanoah, Hayah, Rad, Hayah, Lakah, Kamalakwa, Wahala, Wahata, Pahara, La'ayawah, Amen.
This is Matthew chapter 6 and verse 9. After this manner, therefore, pray ye, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen.
Amen. This is the 10 Commandments in Hebrew. Number 1, La'ah, Yahaya, Lakah, Alahayah, Achor, Alpanya.
Thou shalt have no other powers before me.
Number 2, La'ah, Ta'aisha, Lakah, Paso, Wala'ah, Ta'aibadam.
Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image.
Number 3, La'ah, Talaqwa'a, Shah, Yahweh, Bashawa.
Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain.
Number 4, Zakar, Hayawah, Hashabat, Lakwidashwa.
Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy.
Number 5, Kabad, Amaka, Wa, Amaka.
Honor thy father and thy mother.
Number 6, La'ah, Taratazah.
Thou shalt not murder.
Number 7, La'ah, Tana'ah.
Thou shalt not commit adultery.
Number 8, La'ah, Tagadah.
Thou shalt not steal.
Number 9, La'ah, Ta'inah, Shakur.
Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor.
Number 10, La'ah, Takamah, Ko, Asherah, Wara'aika.
Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Yeshana, which means be seen.
Yeah. Oh, and just another thing, sis, because I know it's your first time, and for all those that may not know, the reason why we face the east, when we go to 2 Chronicles chapter 6, verse 37 and 38, it tells us to pray toward the land that was given to our forefathers, which is Israel, is in Jerusalem.
Somebody catch that for him.
That's why I get that. You got it?
2 Chronicles chapter 6 and verse 38. If they return to thee with all their heart and with all their soul in the land of their captivity.
Right. But the Most High spread us throughout the four corners of the earth. Go ahead.
Whether they have carried them captive and pray toward their land.
Right. So right now here in North America, right, we face the east because Jerusalem, Israel, our homeland, is east from us. Right? Go ahead.
Which thou gavest unto their fathers.
Right.
And toward the city which thou hast chosen. And toward the house which I have built for thy name.
Right, because when Solomon built the temple, where we would do the sacrifices, that was in Jerusalem. And that's our land. So we're not African. Our motherland, according to Galatians 3, we are Jerusalem is the mother of us all. So I just wanted to make sure you understood that. Did you get, make sure, take the notes for her too. All right? But just to let you know why we're facing, we're not praying to the corner, right? We're praying toward Jerusalem, okay?
Rakha Award, Sabbath Shaw, God, Banya Sha'ala.
Rakha War, Sabbath Shaw, God, Bon Yashal, men of Israel, Elijah, Barak.
Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Brakatham.
Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Barakatah.
Right. So what he did was he said his name, which is Rakha War. He said tribe. He said Shabbat Shaw, which is tribe of, and then he said tribe of God. He didn't say God like God God. He said God like tribe of Gad, which is the native North American Indians. And that's what he said. And then he said, Ban Yashal, son of, and he said, I'm a son of Israel. And that's basically what he said. And he's coming up to just read. He's a young, inspiring priest coming up to read. And you're going to see about four readers come up. But you're going to see 4 readers come up. But in total, there's 7 readers. So, Most High's favorite number is 7. So the number, which is the number of completion. So.
Right. And the reason why the brother stated his pedigree, because when you go to Numbers chapter 1 and 18, it tells us that our pedigree is according to the seed of our father. So we have the chart up here because the Bible also tells us to build us a sign to join the 2 houses together. The southern kingdom tribes, which is Judah, Benjamin, and half the tribe of Levi, and the 9.5, the so-called Latinos and Native Americans. As you see on the chart. So you would look at the pedigree of your father if you do know your father's lineage. And that would be your tribe from the nation of Israel. Right? Hebrew being our tongue, meaning our language, the language that you heard the brother speak and the sister speak, and Israelite being your nationality. Right. But again, if you have any questions, throughout the meeting, feel free to ask. You can even write them down so you don't forget.
Right. Oh. So the first reading is going to start at Numbers chapter 14. So Numbers chapter 14, the first reading is going to start there, and he's going to read from the first verse. He's going to read from the first verse all the way to the 25th verse. So Numbers chapter 14, verses 1 all the way through verse 25 for the first reading. All right. Go ahead.
Numbers.
You see there, Malachi? Okay.
Numbers chapter 14, verse 1. And all the congregation lifted up their voice and cried, and the people wept that night. And all the children of Israel murmured against Moses and against Aaron.
And so we see everybody's still speaking against Israel. Speaking against Moses, which is who the man that the Most High set up as his head minister, as the one to guide Israel out of captivity. And he got his right hand man Moses. But the people are still murmuring because they want things to go their way, right? And it's gonna go more into it. Let's get the definition of murmur. Let's get the definition of murmur, right? Yes. So let's get the definition. Who got it? So it says, and all the congregation lifted up their voice and cried, and the people wept that night. And all the children of Israel murmured against Moses and against Aaron. But remember that last week there was murmuring because obviously they seen the giants. They spying out. So basically at this point they're spying out the land. And they seen all the good things that's in it, but then they also seen all the giants that's in it. And so they're looking at the things that they have to do just to gain this land that the Most High laid out for them. And now they're murmuring, like, damn, why we gotta? The murmur is basically fear, but we're gonna find out what the word murmur means. Go ahead.
This is Webster's 1828. Second definition says to grumble, to complain.
What's wrong with them, man? Come on, these cats. Moses tripping, man. Grumbling.
It It says to utter complaints in a low, half-articulated voice.
A low, half-articulated voice. No, man. Why was supposed to go get that land? Why you can't just go set up land in the land with nobody else, man? Why you want to do that, man? But that's the grumbling.
Yeah.
They speaking in a low tone. They slightly saying something, but some of it's like it's like a grumble because they don't want nobody to hear them that they complaining because they don't want to seem weak. So what are we really seeing that's going on over here? Is it that they complaining because something wrong going on, or are they complaining because they're afraid of the giants of the land and they don't want to go do it? They feel like they don't want to fight for their blessing. You see, they're running away from fighting for their blessing because of fear. Because they're looking at it, like I said, in the 13th verse, in the 33 verse, the 13th chapter, in the 33 verse, it says, and there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which come of the giants, and were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so were we in their sight. So there was giants, they was even taller than us. So these were big people, mighty people in sight. Right? From the naked eye, these people look huge. And we looked at like little grass, little tiny insects. And we looked at it like, dang, why won't we want to go fight with these people, man? Why we can't just go to a fresh land? So they're murmuring against Moses. So read that one more time in Aaron, verse 2.
Verse 2. And all the children of Israel murmured against Moses. So
we're figuring out that they had a low tone complaints, half articulated, and then they grumbled. Like kids, when your kid tell you go clean the room, you're like, man, why you didn't tell Cole to do it? You make me want to clean the dishes, right? but that's what they was doing. That's what Israel was doing to Moses and Aaron. Read.
And against Aaron and the whole congregation said unto them, would God that we had died in the land of Egypt? Right.
And look, so it's letting you know what they were murmuring. What they were murmuring about. Because now they're looking at the things that they got to do just to get. It's like they're never satisfied.
Yeah.
The people are not satisfied because it's like you get saved, but it's like you want the Most High to cradle you all the way to salvation.
Right.
You're like, you want him to just swallow you. Look, I'm going to walk you right into Israel. Look, I'm going to say, Canaanites, go, be gone. And they're just going to turn into sand. That's what they wanted. they probably wouldn't even think about that. They complained about going back to Egypt. Right? They just wanted everything easy, though. Is what we figured out.
God.
Nobody wanted to work on their mind. Because that was the point of the whole experience of them going through the wilderness and traveling by foot before they actually get to the land. Because the foot would give them a time period to break that slave mentality off of them, right? Which is the fear, right? The lack of courage, the hesitation, the reluctancy, and then we figuring out here the disorder as well. Because we was disgruntled, right? We was angry, bitter because of all the things that we went through in Egypt. But then now we're talking about going back to Egypt. It says, with that we had died in the land of Egypt. Now they're making this emotional statements. They speaking rash, right? And a lot of times that's what happens when you don't understand how the Lord is working your life, how He's directing your path.
Right.
When you don't understand how the Most High is directing your path, right. You'll grumble. You'll wrestle on the inside because you're like, man, why I gotta do this again? Man, why she keep getting out of the spirit, man? Man, why she can't just be faithful? She wanna argue again? Man, why he still don't understand? Didn't we say that like 5 times? Again? Right? What scripture is that, right, Mom? I see that up there. Let's go to that one. I think that was in that's in Philippians 2, right? 2:12. Yeah. Go to that one. This is what the people wasn't understanding. I think we went to this one last week too, but it still coincides with this week. Because this is the mind that they wasn't realize that the Most High was trying to put in them, but they were allowing that mind of a murmurer. Read that definition again one more time. They were allowing the mind of a murmurer to eat them up because of fear. And they didn't realize that they was speaking against God. They speaking against Moses. They were speaking against God. Because that's the man that the Most High appointed. Go ahead, read the definition.
The definition is to grumble, to complain, to utter complaints in a low, half-articulated voice.
Right. And now read the scripture in Philippians 2:12.
14. 2 or 14.
Oh, 2 and 14?
Con.
Philippians chapter 2 verse 14.
Mm-hmm.
Do all things without murmurings.
You see that? Do all things without murmurings. But think about it. The Most High understands us. He understood them at that same time too. That they're coming out of a state of mind. They're coming out of weakness. They're coming from the weak nature. And the Egyptians only taught them to do what? Be weak. Give into the flesh, right? Rely on them, which is what we do now, what? The food stamps, right? Nothing wrong with these things, right? We use the word, don't abuse the word, right? But, we get to a point where we get comfortable in that. And I think you said it a couple Sabbaths ago, you get comfortable in that to where you don't try to push forward for more. Like, we get comfortable in the neighborhood, then your kid ends up in the neighborhood, then your kid's kid ends up in the neighborhood, and then now you never try to figure out a way to get out of that situation. And then now everybody's just leaning on welfare and Section 8, and now you're not thinking about how to grow. You're not thinking about development, but the Most High using Moses was trying to teach him about growing, right? Teach us about growing and overcome this mind of a murmurer. Because we're supposed to be doing all things with what?
Without murmuring.
Without the murmuring, without the grumbling and the complaining and the bickering and the fighting. Because murmuring does what? It creates confusion.
Right.
But it creates what? Arguments. Because some people ain't gonna quite feel that way. Like, oh, why are you complaining so much? Some people get irritated by complaining, right? Some people get irritated, but then it's going to create a what? A strife between you and your brother, between you and your sister, between you and your husband. Because all you know how to do is things but what? Complaining.
Right. It's unprofitable. Because you think, like, even when you go back to you were saying the children, right? But the instructions and the tasks that your parents, told you to do, you might not understand it now at your age, but when you get older, you'll see that your parents are giving you something to do what? To add addition to show you how to do it when you're on your own, right? So you don't have to depend on someone else, right? It's giving you the skills and the tools to be successful in life. But as a child, you might not be mature enough to see that. But what profit does that murmuring have? You still got to do it anyway, right? So you might as well get into the right state and do it with a whole heart, joyfully. And then maybe you'll be able to understand, okay, dad is telling me to wash the dishes. Why? Because if I don't wash the dishes, then you have bugs in the house. And once you get bugs in the house, you can't get rid of them. Mom is telling me to cut the grass. Well, it's showing me how to take care of the things that the Most High blessed me with. Y'all see that? And you might not get it. You might think, oh man, dad and mom is just, making me do things. But they're making you do things to train you up. So you can be this valuable asset later in life. Y'all see that? Yeah.
Right. So, read that.
Do all things without murmuring.
That's for the future. He's like, what he's saying is the Most High setting y'all up for the future. He's setting us up for the future. And that's what he's doing even now with the things that you're responsible for now. It's about doing all things without murmuring. Like if your job is to just come to class and learn because you're brand new, well, do that without murmuring. Damn, I gotta go to class Thursday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Oh, I gotta go to class Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And we just came from class Friday night. We got out at 10. I gotta get up at 12. Come on, man. But if your job and your responsibility is just that, do it with your whole heart. So that and then as you grow, you master just being consistent and coming to class. Without I don't feel like coming to class today, I'm tired today, I'm sleepy. And you kill those spirits, then the next thing come around. Right? For brothers, you'll have a responsibility. If you join the Hebrew Academy after that 6 months, right, you end up doing what? Being asked, hey, could you take care of the sweeping in the classroom? Could you be the brother that does the candles? Could you make sure that we have the supplies for for the incense and the frankincense and myrrh, so that you can what? Learn about responsibility and learn how to be mindful. Oh, that is playing or just yelling. But so that you can learn how to be mindful of the things that that's for the Lord. That's what my train of thought. So you can learn how to take mind for things that's dealing with the work of the Most High. Because all those things are the work of the Most High. Making sure the temple's clean. Think about what the priests used to do in the ancient times. They used to have to think about that. If they had a murmurous mentality, think about it, they would be able to do what they do on a day-to-day basis. When they was cleaning the temple, cleaning the altar after the sacrifice, if they was complaining at their job that they had, the role that they was playing, that they would have been able to grow. They would have been able to sustain. They would have been able to maintain their family, the brothers around them, and in just their own mental state. So it's key that we understand that we got to do things without murmuring, because that'll send you in a whirlwind. Go to James 1:8. Yeah. That'll send you in a whirlwind, and this is what was happening to the people. Their mind was spiraling. Why another? Verse 13. On Philippians? What's verse 13 say? Go ahead.
Philippians chapter 2 and verse 13. For it is God which worketh in you both to will and to do.
No? Yeah, that's right on point. Read it loud. Read what your prayer was.
9. Philippians chapter 2 and verse 13. For it is God which worketh in you both.
Right.
To will.
No, good.
To will and to do of his good
Pleasure.
Pleasure. Yeah. And the Most High is the one that works in it. I like that. It is the Most High that's working in you.
God.
To do his good pleasure. But you have to understand the way he likes things done.
Right.
It's like when you try to get your rib to learn how to cook the way you like her to cook, right? Or you as a woman, you trying to understand how your man likes his food to be made. But you're learning him, and he's taking you through this like, that was okay, but it was a little too salty. Okay, then the next time you try to make that same dish, that was okay, but the rice was a little too salty. Okay, well now it's too hard. You're like, what's wrong with this? I ain't always trying to, damn, I'm trying. You don't see I'm doing the rice? And then but after you going through the repetition of doing it over and over and over and over, and you finally get that perfect blend that perfect batch of rice that he wants, and you making it not too soft, not too hard. You making it just right according to his standard. And that's what the Most High was doing with us. He's teaching us how to do things without murmuring, so that you're like, okay, I'm taking you through this wilderness so I can break off the negative spirit that Egypt gave you. Right, that Egypt put on you, and I'm trying to get you to walk, think, talk, dress, eat, deal in moderation to my standard. Right, and I'm trying to shake off your standard, because your standard is not a standard. Right, our standard is based off a shaky foundation. Right, and it goes right with the scripture here. This is our standard. Right, go ahead.
James chapter 1 verse 8. A double-minded man.
That's our standard. That's our standard, right?
Right.
You swear up and down you're confident. You swear up and down you got it. You swear up and down you're the most faithful person. But then really, when the situations come, you start talking like this. And you don't even identify that you're being double-minded. One day you rock on Moses. Next day you're not rocking on Moses. Yeah. One day I want to be around the brothers. Next day I don't want to be around the brothers. One day I want to be around the sisterhood. One day I don't want to be around the sisterhood. One day I want to be charitable. Another day I don't want to be charitable. That's our foundation. Do things when we want to do it, which is in a double mind, because then that's not charity at all. Right? When you only do things, it's not kindness. It's not love. It's not peace. When one day you're just choosing it, and the other day you're just like, nah. It's double-minded. And what's a double-minded man?
A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways.
But that's what the scriptures let us know, that our brothers and sisters here in Egypt, I want you to read that last precept on verse 2 again. With that God.
That's what
Oh, come. Or with God, he had died in this wilderness.
Yeah, with God that we had died in the land of Egypt, or with God we had died in this wilderness again. That's what a double-minded man would say. He's murmuring, and then he's unstable because of his fear.
Right.
You're looking at the people, so now you're trying to cast the blame on Moses. What they try to do is cast away the confidence. Right? Their weakness, they're trying to put their weak spirit on Moses. To be like, you know what, let's not go there. Let's go to another place. So they're trying to convince Moses to disobey God. And they don't even realize that that's what they're doing. They're just trying to teach Moses to go do wrong against the Father because of their fear. Right? And we don't realize that sometimes now, even you do that now, when you be stubborn, you're like, no, bro, the scriptures say this. And you're like, no, but I wasn't doing that. No, but that's exactly what you just did. You're like, no, but I didn't say that. That's not what I was saying. But you just didn't. But that's what the scripture's saying that you did. And you like almost trying to tell the brother to not say what he's saying according to what the scripture is saying. You see that? You're almost trying to convince somebody to not tell you the right thing. That's what you're doing. So you try to wiggle yourself around doing the right thing because you know it's the right thing, but your fear and your confidence and your pride and your ego and all those things kind of come into play instead of you wanting to just do the right thing. And that be the wrestling. And that's what the people's wrestling with right now. They're double-minded. Read.
A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways.
Right, and now they're unstable in all their ways. And they went to as far as to speak against the Father. That's a bold statement.
Now they complaining. They complaining. They forgot one of the things that the Most High did for them, delivering them from their enemies, from their oppressors, right? The Most High sent the 10 plagues, killed the Egyptians, right? And promised them that he was going to give them a land, flowing with milk and honey. But here's that land, but because they had to do some work, they started complaining, right? But how many of us do that today? Right? We want the blessings. We're going to pray. I want to be the most powerful teacher. But then you complain about having to stay up late, having to sacrifice the Netflix and chill time, having to sacrifice being able to do some of the things you used to do. But how else are you going to obtain what you prayed for? See, Christianity got us thinking we just pray. The Most High is a magician. He just going to snap his fingers. He's like Aladdin. You just rub the lamp and you make your wish and you get it without having to put in any work. But it doesn't even work like that in this life. If you want to be a college grad, don't you got to study? Don't you got to dedicate? So why do we not think that applies when it comes to the creator of heaven and earth? And see, what they were doing was they forgot all that the Most High did and started complaining. Y'all see that? But what happens? The Most High remembers every idle word. As we're going to read on in the text, you're going to see what happened to these people that murmured. Right? Because the Most High doesn't forget.
Right. So let's just jump back.
Numbers chapter 14, verse 3. And wherefore hath the Most High brought us into this land, to fall by the sword, that our wives and our children shall be a prey.
Right, you see that? Now look at it. They complaining about, they thinking about their fear. They're dropping their fear, right? And they're dropping it on there. Now they're dropping it on Moses. They trying to drop this on Moses. They're trying to make a weak conscience jump in his mind to where they're trying to make him fearful. They're trying to give him like, to this, it's like they're throwing out things that people would try in their mind, work it out like as reasons. Because in their mind, they're not making excuses. They're giving Moses a reason why. Why they're thinking, and they're thinking that they're just. They're coming with Moses with full confidence that this is the right mind.
Yeah.
And not realizing that this is the negative mind. Because you're being fearful. And then they don't realize that they're teaching their kids and their wife an evil lesson. Because they're showing weakness. Right? And they're showing them not to trust in the Father. And that's what we don't want to do today. you can't show your family weakness, and you can't show them that weakness, because then you're showing them that you're telling them that the Father doesn't work. But you're the one that's supposed to be the guy showing them how the Father works in your life. Right? When you don't trust in the brotherhood, like we say unity. Well, when you talk about brotherhood, right? And you talk to your wife about sisterhood, and you tell her about coming around, being around, or you talking to a brother about coming around. The brother, these are good brothers, come around. But then you don't think to allow the brothers to help you. But you tell that other person to allow the brothers to help them. It's confusing because you're not teaching anybody to trust in the Lord. Yeah. Right? Through your actions. And these people, they don't realize that speaking in that way, they're teaching their families an evil lesson. And it's showing their families to distrust in the Lord. Right? It's teaching their families to stagnate, to stumble, to be hesitant and reluctant, to giving themselves to the Father, and to fight for their blessing. Because they're really just running away from fighting for the blessing. Right. Through lack of courage, fear. I don't want to put the work in. Different reasons for everybody, right? But we know ultimately it leads to that one word, fear. Read.
Were it not better for us to return unto Egypt?
And notice they keep making reference to Egypt. They keep making reference to Egypt when they keep trusting in the shadow of Pharaoh. Right? And they don't realize that that's their destruction because they're trusting in Pharaoh, but Pharaoh can't save you. Pharaoh can't save you. And we don't realize that now, that we use methods, we use vices, and we trust in those things. And those things are our shelter and our comfort zone. Those are the things that you run to seek ease from your pain.
Right, coping mechanisms.
Those are your coping mechanisms, right? Mm-hmm. And those coping mechanisms don't do you any good.
Right.
But those are the things that you've learned to use to express yourself. Because you don't know how to talk. Talking is a battle for you. Mm-hmm. So you run to what? Netflix and chill. Yeah. Right? That Netflix and chill is more comforting. Yeah. You and your popcorn because your favorite TV show just got released. That gives you a dopamine. That gives you an adrenaline rush.
That's the way we self-soothe. Just like babies. Babies they need the pacifier or they gotta cry themselves to sleep. But how many of us in this adult age, we rebel and look for carnal things to self-soothe instead of learning how to express. Like, okay, this was the instructions you gave me. I don't really understand that. Can you explain that? Instead, we do what? We basically have a temper tantrum. We shut down, right? We shut down, but then how does that benefit us from getting the understanding that the Most High wants us to get? Y'all see that?
Come on. Yeah, they was fighting. In their mind, they was fighting against doing the right thing.
They went to go back.
Oh, I thought somebody had that. But they was fighting against doing the right thing. And the Most High was trying to show them. Moses was trying to show them that this is an experience that you need. Let's go to 2nd Ezra in the Apocrypha. 2nd Ezra in the Apocrypha. Where is that? 2nd Ezra chapter 7 and verse 57.
2nd Ezra chapter 7 and verse 57.
Mm-hmm.
Then answered he me and said, this is the condition of the battle.
This is the condition of the battle. This is how this is the playing field. This is the terrain. Or we want to say this is the dynamic. Right? That the Most High set up for us to fight. And the fight is literally inside of you. Because we're not on a physical battlefield. So the fight is inside of you. It's inside of all of us. And and there's a raging bull inside of everybody, trying to stop him from seeing what the Most High wants him to see. And that raging bull inside of us is always trying to fight against doing the right thing because of a fear, right? Because of an outlook. That outlook might be what? It might be you misperceiving how people are perceiving you. Oh, I don't want the brothers to think of me like this. Well, I don't want the sisters to think that I'm not trying to dedicate on this level. And you're playing a recorder in your mind of negative thoughts that's leading you to what? Run away from the battlefield. Which is what? Us just sitting here talking to each other. That's the battlefield. Are you going to apply communication?
Right.
Right? Are you going to talk and relieve yourself of the burden that's on your mind? Are you going to talk? That's the battlefield. The lust. Are you going to run away from it and hide? Right? And let it control you? Or are you going to go run into the battlefield and say, no, resist the devil? Right? Thou shalt have no other power before me. Brothers, I need the help. Guide me. Right? And these are things that, this is the condition of our battle. It's in your mind. Your mind is the battlefield. And you have to look at it as such. Because that's where the war is. The war is on the inside. And the war is decision making. The war is the decision making that you make. Because your mind is basically the chess piece. It's the chessboard. Right? You on one end. Your right mind is trying to move forward. But your negative mind is the chess piece that's trying to stop you from going forward. And the decisions that you make can stop you from growing. Right? The decision that you can make can stop you from loving the Most High. And you'll burn out. And that's the condition of the battle. Do you want to attack your mind? Or are you going to be fearful like our people in the wilderness right here, right now? Yeah. Like, dang, can we just go back to Egypt? It was easier there. Right? It was easy when I didn't know the truth. Can I go back to being an American? Barbecuing on July 4th? Can I just go back to being a Hindu Krishna? Can I go back to being a Muslim? Can I go back to just being an Egyptologist, a Christian, a Baptist, a Pentecostal? That's what we do now. When you fight against the council, when you fighting against just doing things the right way, right? And you wrestling. What's going on here?
So Isaiah 26:4 show how
Wait. You trying to bring out a verse? Oh, okay. What's it about?
So it's if
Yeah.
you trust in the Most
Hi.
High, he'll strengthen you.
Okay. Yeah. Hold that. Yeah, hold that, and we're going to go to it. Let's finish this one. Go ahead, Shane.
Then answered he me, and said,
Read from the top.
2 Ezra chapter 7, verse 57.
Mm-hmm.
Then answered he me, and said, this is the condition of the battle.
The condition is in your mind. The condition is in your mind. And the war is in your mind. Right? And you have to look at it. You have to start separating your thoughts. And you know, Ecclesiastes. It's in the Bible. You know in Ecclesiastes, Ariana will say that man beast, that we know that we beast. I think it's Ecclesiastes 9.
That we're beasts?
Yeah, that we know that we beast, not the Psalms.
Not no wretched man that I am.
That's a good one too. But not that one. Hold on, let me find it. We'll read on to you, man.
Which man that is born upon the earth shall fight.
This is the condition of the battle. Which man that is born on the earth shall fight. So when we're born on earth, we're born into a world filled with sin. We're born into a world filled with negative. We're born into a world filled with what? Drugs, right? Prostitutes, liars, murderers, thieves, right? And we got what? Politicians that's what? Shiesty. Yeah. So you're born into a world that's filled with deception. And it taught you how to deceive. It taught you how to rob. That's how you were groomed. You weren't groomed to think the right way. So now that's the condition of your battle. The condition of our battle is this world. Right? What do you like? What desires pull on you? And that's what was happening with these people over here. Their comfort zone was pulling at them. Their fears and reluctancy was pulling at them. And being that the condition of our battle is in our mind. And when we step out into the world, the things that pull at us that we like, the Most High wants us to realize something in the battle. And that'll help you That'll help you realize something in your battle. Once you acknowledge this. Go to Ecclesiastes 3:18. Did you finish that one, Sheba? Go ahead.
Ecclesiastes.
Yeah, in the Bible. Ecclesiastes in the Bible, 3:18.
Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 18. I said in mine heart concerning the estate of the sons of men.
Here, read it from the top one more time. Let them know where you're at too.
Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 18.
Mm-hmm.
I said in mine heart concerning the estate of the sons of men.
Because we're those men. We're on earth. We're the humans. We're on earth, right? And the Most High says concerning our estate, right? Our life. The things that we have to battle, the things we have to see, the things that we have to go through. Solomon is even realizing something about what we have to go through as people, human beings on earth, in the flesh, read.
That Yahweh might manifest them.
That he in hopes that Yahweh might what?
Manifest them.
And let us know that what?
And that they might see that they themselves are beasts.
That in our own eyes, that we wake up to see what's beastly about us.
It becomes clear.
It becomes clear. Yeah, right. It becomes clear what we actually are.
Yeah.
If I'm a liar, well, I have to acknowledge to myself that I'm a liar. But that part of me, being a liar, makes me a beast. Right? If I'm a thief, well, I have to realize that I'm a thief. And that part of me makes me a beast. Right? If I'm a whoremonger, then I'm a whoremonger. And I have to acknowledge that part that makes me a beast.
Right.
But me acknowledging that is allowing me to separate clean thoughts from filthy thoughts. And now there's no misunderstanding of the condition of my battle. There's no misunderstanding of what I have to overcome to become a righteous man, a righteous woman. But because I'm being real with myself, I'm realizing that I have to fight. I'm realizing what I have to fight just to become righteous. Right? And if I'm saying I want to serve God, I want to be God, I want to be a godly and a godly woman, I have to overcome these things.
I got the scripture.
What?
Romans 17:18.
What's good?
Romans 17:18 to go with what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. No, you was done with that?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, but the Most High wants to make that battle clear. That we're beasts. And this verse is going to edify. Go ahead.
Romans chapter 7, verse 18. For I know.
Right. And, and that's what we want to understand. Because that's what we're here for, right? That's what we're here for, right? Yeah, we're here to actually understand what's been making my life consistently hard. What's been making me constantly repeat the same cycle, fall into the same negative, right? The same destructive nature, the same pride. And why I keep falling into the same cycle of things that make me become prideful? Why do I keep falling into the same cycle of things that make me be lustful? Right? And we have to see that there's steps that lead us into that. That's what we come to the truth for. To see what steps lead us into negativity. And how do I avoid those things? Right? How do I attack those things so those things are no longer a battle? Read.
Romans chapter 7 verse 18. For I know that in me, that is, in my flesh, dwelleth no good thing.
The flesh. No good thing. The nature of man. No good things in the flesh. But why? Because all it wants to do is please itself. All it wants is comfort. Like you said, sleep.
Yeah.
You tell yourself you want to be this, you want to be that. I want to be the great leader. I want to be the great street speaker. I want to be the great teacher. I want to be the great man, the great woman, the great wife, the great son. But you got to realize though something. That in the flesh they do what?
That in my flesh there dwelleth no good thing.
Right, we be running to the flesh. We wanted to run to evil. The flesh wants to run to evil. Think about it. People run, they flock. When you're in high school, what do you flock to? Let's use the titles that they use in school. Did you hang around the nerds or did you hang around the so-called cool kids?
Cool kids.
Did you feel lame when you wasn't able to hang around certain people?
Yeah.
That was considered cool? Did you try to find ways to go hang around the kids that was considered cool? Man, I want to be down. So then what? You start smoking weed because you want to be down?
what were those so-called cool kids doing?
Right.
They were doing beastly things.
Right.
These were the kids that were probably had sex early.
Right.
These are the kids that was probably selling drugs, smoking the drugs, doing everything that wouldn't be, we wouldn't glorify or value it today. But in our mind, we thought that was something valuable. That was something, I would aspire to be like them. But that was a beastly nature, because look at them. If any of those people continue those same things from high school to now, where are they? Are they a valuable asset to their community? Are they somebody that you want your children to aspire to be like? Nah, heck nah. A lot of us were those people. And we discussed at how we used to live, how we used to think, how we used to deal. Right? I know I am. I don't know about y'all, but I was that guy that was so cool, right? But I would never want my children or your children to be like that.
Yeah. But a lot of those things happen, and that's what the Most High is trying to show us. That in the flesh, there's no good thing. Because the flesh, you judge and you look at things from an outward perspective, and you use emotions to sway you. Right? You use emotions to lead you to be like, well, I feel good about making this decision so I can be around this type of person. So I think that's right. I should do that. The flesh will make you confident in negative. And that's what Paul's trying to point out. The flesh will make you confident in that negative.
Confident in negative. Ooh.
Right. And that's why Paul has pointed that out. Read that. Read on.
For to will is present with me, but
For to will is what?
Present with me.
It says what is it? Verse 18? Oh, okay, I was looking up at verse 21. Yeah, okay. Read that one more again.
From the top?
Yeah.
Almost missed it. For I know that in me, that is, in my flesh, dwelleth no good thing.
Right.
For to will is present with me.
It's in your mind. It's in your mind to want to do the right thing. You think about it. Right? It's funny, point this out. We was talking to this young military girl. It's Issachar yesterday. And she left her hometown because she said she would have been dead or in jail because she was, moving around with the wrong people, hanging around the Crips in LA or Cali, somewhere, San Diego. And, she kind of still hypes up that lifestyle while still being in the military. But then but we was able to catch a real moment with her where she was pondering on like, damn, I would have been dead. Damn, maybe God left me out here. And she was saying all this stuff as she really paused herself. I was like, she said, I think God, I was like, no, God did let you out. I don't think he did.
Right.
And then she was like, maybe he just let me out here. And then she was really stuck at that moment. But that moment, when you have moments like that, that's that will in you that's trying to lead you to go do the right thing. It's in your mind. The will is present with you. But what happens? Read.
But how to perform that which is good, I find not.
But then how to perform it, you never find to do it because why? You get stuck on just thinking about it. So then what? That good thought that you had to go do the right thing just flies by. It was just a good idea. It just flies by as a good idea in your brain, and you never learn how to do anything with it because we don't seek out the help. And you see him just taking it back to the reading. They didn't seek out the help. They communicated from a fearful fashion, right? They was basically what they were doing was basically what do you call it when kids when they just temper tantrum?
Temper tantrum.
Yeah, they was throwing a temper tantrum at Moses and Aaron. That's what they was doing.
Yeah.
Because they knew they was getting something good, but to perform the good, they couldn't do it. They didn't know how to because they were communicating about their weaknesses. They weren't communicating about their shortcomings to Moses. They weren't being upfront. So the help that they could have been getting, they wasn't able to get it. Go ahead.
There goes to the conversation you, me, and Rob was having. It's about what you subject your mind and your spirit to. Because it's like a beast, right? The reason why they're beasts is because they lack communication. They lack the common knowledge of how to properly edify or communicate what they're feeling.
Right.
So what do? They rage out. Yeah. Same with a child. They throw a temper tantrum. They throw a hissy fit. Right? And that's what the murmuring was.
Right.
Had they had tried to be men of understanding, women of understanding, you would probably, instead of murmuring, you would go to Moses and be like, okay, well, let me ask you this. Can I ask this? And they lack that. They lack that mind state because how to perform, they know not. Why? Because they didn't ask.
Right.
No.
Yeah, they didn't ask. And, just right with what you're saying, it's like, when you think about it, murmuring don't just pop up. It's like, it's little things. It's little things that you don't understand that lead you to this point where now you just like, I want to talk. The Lord said, what's wrong with him? Bro, how you even know that? Bro, think about it. How you even know that Moses even talking to God for it? You ever thought about that, bro? Bro, you ever thought about that? I know you thought about that. I didn't know I ain't the only one. I know I ain't the only one. All right, I know you thought about that.
That'd be the spirit, though, because when we brought it out in chapter 12, when Miriam did the same thing, Miriam and Aaron did the same thing to Moses.
Right.
Right? They want to murmur, but then the Most High had to check them. Okay, well, listen, did I talk to you face to face? No, I talked to him face to face.
Right.
But you got something to say. You're not saying it against him. You're saying it against me.
Right.
And that's what pissed the Most High off because you got that leader, you got that brother, that sister that's guiding you, and they're in the spirit of Yahweh Shai, right? Trying to guide you in the right way, but then you're murmuring. You're not murmuring against that individual. You're murmuring against that spirit, which is the Most High.
Right.
So you're pissing him off.
Right.
Calm.
Yeah. And that's what goes on with all of us when you allow that spirit to bubble up in you. Right? Like children. What happened, Ariel?
Wow.
Bob.
That's shooting today. Hold on.
Okay.
You got another good one.
You've been waiting to get that skill.
Go ahead, Ariel. I see he came out with two of them.
Proverbs chapter 16 and verse 18.
Come on.
Pride goeth before destruction.
Bam.
And
No, read a little louder because the kid's loud.
And haughty spirit before a fall.
Read that one more time. Try to read it louder.
Proverbs chapter 16 and verse 18. Pride goeth before destruction.
Yeah, pride goes before destruction. They was playing with pride. But they didn't realize all the things that they were saying was going to lead them into their destruction. All the things that they were murmuring about was going to lead them into their destruction. Because in their mind, they thought they was correct. In their mind, they thought they was full confident stepping on Moses like that. But read.
And haughty spirit before a fall.
Right. Let's do the definition of haughty. For the sister. Get the definition of haughty. Yeah. Haughty.
God.
Got it? Go ahead, read it.
God. It says proud and disdainful,
Right?
having a high opinion of oneself.
Boom. They had a high opinion of themselves. That high opinion, they don't realize it's going to destroy them. Because you get this high opinion, so you get into this mentality where your thought process, you think is so correct all the time, that your way is the right way all the time, and you can never be wrong. And then, so now when you step into, think about it. I'm just going to go into it with the reading, but you got certain individuals thinking that they can speak against Moses, the man that the Most High set up. So that means what? They got so high in themselves that they forgot about order.
Right. Lack of respect.
They forgot about how you come and speak to an elder.
Right.
They forgot how you speak to somebody, a priest. They forgot how you speak to a brother. Right? They put that all to the side just so that they can what? Complain.
Yeah.
You see that?
All right.
We go something to the reading. We're going to go to hold that one, though. Hold that one. I know you got one, but hold it. Save it for later. Write it down.
Yeah.
We're going to jump back to the reading.
House of Ariah is on today. House of Amon.
The Lions Den.
The Lions.
Full spectrum.
Who roused up these lions?
Right?
God.
Go ahead. You jump back to the reading. But y'all get that though, right?
God.
Right. We gotta get it so far. I ain't asked that in a while. We gotta get it from the Sabbath Reading so far. Go ahead, now stop.
So basically, we're getting
that edification on just touching on, the minds of the people of Israel, who murmured against Moses. And then we're actually understanding,
Go ahead.
no,
go ahead.
all right. So basically, we're just touching on the mindset of the people that was murmuring against Moses. And we're actually understanding how, disdainful this mind can actually be. And when we read on down, we're going to actually find out what happens when you continue in that mind state.
Right.
Boom. Straight to the point. Was that a Harris? Oh, okay. I thought you meant reading. My bad. Okay. Let's jump back to the reading.
Numbers chapter 14 and verse 4. And they said one to another, let us make a captain, and let us return unto Egypt. And Moses and Aaron fell on their faces before all the assembly of the congregation of the children of Israel.
Right, what's wrong with y'all? Like, they don't get it? Read.
And Joshua, the son of Nun, and Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, which were of them that searched the land, rent their clothes, and spake unto all the company of the children of Israel, saying, the land.
And it's letting you know why they rent their clothes. Right now, as he's reading. Go ahead.
The land which we passed through to search it is an exceeding good land.
Right.
If the Most High delight in us, then we will bring us into the land and give it us, and a land which floweth with milk and honey.
But this is what what's cool about this is that we're reading somebody actually fall into a negative mind. People fall into a negative mind. But think about it, this is a whole congregation. But then this is two righteous men having to do what? Stand up. They had to stand up. But I don't want to point this out because it's a dope one, because a lot of times you might just be that one voice of reason in an environment, but you have to stand up. And of course, with wisdom, knowing how to do it, timing, understanding what you can and cannot capable and not capable of. But in this instance, Caleb and Joshua are more than capable. They're fit for the service and what they're saying right now to the people. And one thing you want to read is Ecclesiastes 42 and verse 8. Ecclesiastes chapter 42 and verse 8 in the Apocrypha. And what we realized with Joshua and Caleb that's so dope is one group is coming with a negative mind, and these two individuals coming with a righteous mind. But sometimes you're gonna have to stand up. You're gonna have to say what's needed to be said to get you gotta have to get that message across. You're gonna have to cast down the imagination, and you gotta always be ready to cast down that imagination when it comes, when it tries to exalt itself against the Most High. And you can't have that feeling of weakness in there. You can't have that fearfulness, right, which is tied in with reluctance to say what needs to be said to an individual that needs to hear it, because you're saving that soul through the Most High. Read.
Ecclesiastes chapter 42 and verse 8. Be not ashamed to inform the unwise.
Because why I use the word ashamed rather than afraid? Because that's where the thought sparks from. Because the people will try to make you feel ashamed for saying the right things. You see that? And they give you all these things that sound like reasons, but really it's excuses to give into weakness.
Right.
And that's what we're seeing right here in this reading. And Joshua, what's funny is that the Most High chose people from every tribe to go spy out the land, and these two were there. These two were there. They were there with a pure mind, though. They were there looking at everything like, ooh, the Lord will bless us. The Lord will take care of us. The Lord's son is out here to spy out the land. Ooh, I like that. Them grapes.
Right, look at them pomegranates.
Look at them pomegranates.
Jeez.
Right? Look at that cluster.
Yeah.
Look how big it is. Ooh, majestic. Listen, I'm trying to get this. Take my mama out the hood. Right? Take my mama out the hood of Egypt, man.
God.
Right?
Yeah.
Take out a ring-a-ding chariot, put in a golden chariot, right?
Moving on up now.
Right? Going from a Toyota Camry to a dang Mercedes Benz.
Ooh, okay.
Right?
God.
G-Wagon. My brother said G-Wagon. But that's what they're looking at. Right? They're looking at the beauty of what's over there. And they're seeing that the Lord is trying to give them the best. Right? But you got to prove that you're able to maintain the best. You got to prove that you want the best. And that's what the Lord is trying right here. And they're like, bro, we're not going to let y'all squander the blessing. So they're speaking up and being not what?
Be not ashamed.
They're not allowing the shame that the people's trying to cast. The people's trying to cast away the confidence. They're like, no, we're going to build the confidence because we see what the Lord's trying to give us. We see what the Lord's trying to do. Read.
To inform the unwise.
Because y'all moving in an unwise spirit. Y'all moving through fear and lack of courage. Y'all moving through just emotions and doubts. We're not going to move that way. We're not going to allow y'all to put that thought and allow that thought to just rest in everybody's mind.
Right.
But you might be that voice of reason and might have to speak up. But do it in the right way, in the right manner, in order. Right? And if you may not know how to do it, you take it to a man that knows how to. But the Most High Son, don't be ashamed. Right? Don't look at the person's status. Don't look at the person's position. Don't look at, this sister's going to be mad at me. This brother's going to be mad at me. No. You're helping save that soul from death. Read.
And foolish.
Be not ashamed to inform the unwise and foolish. Read.
In the extreme age.
Even if, I'm young. I'm just a teenager. He's older than me. I'm just 10 years old. I'm 9 years old. He's older than me. But you seen that wrong being done. You can't be ashamed to speak up for it.
God.
Read.
In the extreme age that contendeth with those that are young.
You see that? Because boy, you're a little boy. What you know, boy? Right? What you know? You don't know nothing, boy. You ain't seen nothing. You ain't even seen the chicken on him. Right? No, just you ain't even jump off the porch yet. Right? That's the one they used to say. You ain't even jump off the porch yet. You ain't seen nothing. You ain't seen the world. You still wet behind the ears. They'll try to cast your confidence away. Like, maybe I didn't see the right. Maybe I didn't interpret that the right way. Well, let's get the understanding. Let's communicate about it. Right? Read.
Thus shalt thou be truly learned.
But then that's how you'll be truly learned. Because you'll be approved in the eyes of the Most High, and what'll happen? Read.
And approved of all men living.
And that's where you get the approval. Right? Because that's when somebody will be able to respect you. Because you're standing up for the right things. Right? Somebody said something online? Okay. Okay. Right. And that's when you'll be able to stand up for the right things. Because you're showing somebody that you care about doing the will of the Lord. Right? And that's what Caleb and Joshua were doing. They were standing up for the Lord. They were standing up for the people that wanted to see the good. They were standing up for the weak and feeble-minded person. Right? They were standing up for the people that were speaking against Moses. That didn't understand that was a negative mind. That was weakness. You gotta say that loud. I ain't hear you.
I have the scripture.
What's the scripture?
Ecclesiastes chapter 42 and verse 7.
Come on, man. Well, you said 42 and 7?
No, that's not it.
No, that's not
Not
it.
yet. Not yet. Not on that.
Appreciate that. Good. Keep trying. You got it. But yeah, that's why I want to go to that one. Show you gotta. When somebody's trying to cast away the confidence in doing the right thing, you're supposed to be saying, nah, let me keep on doing it. Let me keep on pushing for righteousness. You know, it said that in Jeremiah, when you make their fist as flint, make their fist as adamant. Because the people tried to cast away his confidence. When they tried to cast away the prophet Jeremiah's confidence. But he was like, he wasn't going for it.
That's right.
He wasn't going for it. He tried, for a moment, he was like, man, let me not say that. But then it was like, the word hit him like a fire in his chest. He's like, nah, I gotta say something. I gotta speak on it. I gotta stand up for righteousness. Go ahead.
That's why the scripture says the righteous are as bold as a lion.
Right.
God.
Yeah, and that's the spirit that was on Jeremiah, where they tried to cast away his confidence, but he's like, nah, I can't let that happen. Nah, I gotta stand up for the Lord. I gotta stand up for the right things. And that's the thing that you gotta do when you're in your house. You gotta stand up for the right things. You know what I mean? You have to stand up to make sure that the order is established. You have to stand up to make sure that everybody's playing their role and playing their position. And you have to make sure that everybody's upholding their end of the bargain. Because everybody got a position and a role and responsibility. But we all gotta play that position. Right? And do it with our whole heart. And that spearhead, you being the spearhead or you being that voice of reason in the house, you got to be the one that's using wisdom to order everything right. And not let the weak mind, the weak nature, try to cultivate the spirit in them. Right? So you have to break it down. You have to break down and root out all negative. Right? And be confident and bold in doing it. So just keep that in mind as we read on. Go ahead,
Numbers chapter 14, verse 9. Only rebel not ye against the Most High. Neither fear ye the people of the land, for they are bread for us. Their defense is departed from them, and the Most High is with us. Fear them not.
You see that? And that's what they need to see. We had no reason to fear. The Most High was with us. Their defense is departed from them. Right? That means that they're what they say in the world, free game. Right? That means it's easy. It's open season. It's hunting season.
You said they were bread for us.
Yeah.
Bread. What you do to a piece of bread? You rip it apart.
About to make me a sandwich.
Right?
I think you caught it the same time I did. I know you mentioned bread, like a sandwich, whatever. I see it as you know, like the Most High said, I created all things for my purpose. He's saying, I'm seeing it as he's saying that I created these people for you. Like I created them, I raised them up, right? Whatever I gave them, right, was for you.
Oh, right, yeah, I see it. For they are bread for us. Right? No, you're right on point. Yeah, their defense is departed from them. And the Lord is with us. Fear them not. Yeah, don't mind them. It's like he said, you're special. You're above all people. Right? This is your world. Right? They're the little seashell in it.
Right.
So,
to go with what Aaron and Ariel was saying, go to Proverbs 16. 16:4.
Proverbs chapter 6 and verse 4.
16. Proverbs 16.
16. Proverbs chapter 16 and verse 4. The Lord hath made all things for him.
Right, so we know the Most High created heaven and earth and all living creatures, but did he choose all living creatures? Who did he choose?
Israel.
Y'all sure about that?
Israel.
Who did he choose?
Israel.
For himself. Ye even the wicked.
Even the who?
Even the wicked.
And the Most High showed us that the Egyptians were wicked because they were doing what? Serving other gods. They had these customs that was contrary to what the Most High required. They had abominable practices. Most importantly, they weren't the chosen. So he said, read that part again. He created who?
Even the wicked.
Even the wicked, read.
For the day of evil.
Right. That's what the Most High created these people for us, to see what happens to the disobedient. Now that's even some of us Israelites. That's the scary thing. It's easy to see when it's the people outside, but what about when it's the people in here? Because you're living secretly like an Egyptian. Or like how your grandparents say, you acting like a heathen. You know you're a Hebrew Israelite, but in your mind, you're still battling, you're still wrestling. You don't want to give up. You still want to follow the ways of our oppressors. So you sit here in class and you'll say, Khan, Kwame Yasharala, but in your mind, you just a raging heathen. You can't wait to get out of here and do the things that please your flesh. So it's easy to see what it's Egyptians that's made for us to eat off of. But what about us? Some of us are going to be examples of what happens to the rebellious, to the women. And we're going to read on about these are our people. These are Israelites. These are God's chosen people that's murmuring that the Most High sent the place to save. Y'all see that? So it's about being that spiritual Jew, that spiritual Israelite. Come? Yeah, he's on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Verse 10. But all the congregation, they stoned them with stones. And the glory of the Most High appeared in the tabernacle of the congregation.
So that's why, like, when we get the definition of murmuring, it was like that complaint under the breath, right? But it led them to this disdainful, right? This arrogant, this superior. So now this is what happened. We saw that in Miriam and Aaron, where they spoke out of turn, they spoke out of character, right? When they disrespect the Most High's chosen, now the people are doing that. So you got to be careful what you do, because that the scripture saying adds a judge and shows the officers. So now they see Aaron and Miriam do it. You know what? We can murmur too, even though she got checked. That's how forgetful we are. Even though she got checked, we gonna still do it, right? Go to Isaiah 30 and 1, because now they murmured and said they read again. Verse 10. Read verse 10. Come.
But all the congregation, they stoned them with stones.
Right, they wanted to stone them. They wanted to kill the man of the Lord. They wanted to kill the prophets. This is why Yahweh Shai said you always kill the prophets.
Right. But so I'm gonna let you go.
Yeah.
That's why it's so important that why you think brothers be so hard about decency and order.
God.
Because when you allow just things to just run rampant and with confusion, and everybody will establish their own righteousness. And in their mind, what they're doing right here in this moment is establishing their own righteousness. And they don't realize that they're doing something. They're thinking that they're applying the law. Like, these people are doing something evil. We gotta stone Moses and we gotta get them out of here. But they don't realize that what? They're actually doing something wicked, something evil, something sinful, right? Treacherous, traitors, right? And by trying to stone Moses in them.
Yeah.
But that's why order and decency is so important. We talk about those things, about just how you communicate with brothers and timing. We have it where we're in class and you want to say something, you gotta raise your hand, because order is so important. Because if there's no order, disorder there, it'll lead to this point where you just running rampant. We be like, this is basically neighborhood behavior.
Yeah.
Bro, we gotta kill that rat.
God.
Bro, you know rats out here. We don't, snitches in Brooklyn. You know snitches in Little Haiti. Right? You know snitches in 5th Ward, 9th Ward.
Right.
Right? But that's how people think in the neighborhood. But they're looking at Moses and Aaron. Right? They probably got that thought running through their brain. Right? These some snitches. They always talk to the Most High song. They probably, right? Not knowing the Most High already sees them. The Most High come to him, tell him what to do with you. Right? But they over here getting upset with Moses and Aaron.
Yeah.
Just want to say that.
Yeah. No, Makai, read verse 11, then we're going to go to the Isaiah. Go ahead.
Verse 11.
11 back in Numbers 14 and 11. Go ahead.
And the Most High said unto Moses, how long will this people provoke me?
Because if y'all remember last Sabbath reading, or since the time we left Egypt, the people did what? They murmured. They complained since the Most High led them out of Egypt. Once they crossed over the Red Sea, it was complaint after complaint. Where's the food? Where's the water? We got manna, right? We got the manna, but now I want flesh. I want leeks. I want onions, right? It was complaint after complaint after complaint, just like an ungrateful child. Yeah. A stubborn, rebellious, ungrateful child, right? Keep reading.
And how long will it be ere they believe me? For all the signs.
For all the signs. Who did the signs? It wasn't the Egyptians that did the signs. The Egyptian Pharaoh didn't even want to let us go. All he had to do was let us go, but he refused. The Most High hardened his heart. But the Most High showed that he was with us by all these signs and wonders. But then how do you turn your back on him after he did it for you. Read again.
For all the signs which I have showed among them.
Among them. Now read that Isaiah.
Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 1. Woe to the rebellious children.
It said destruction. That word woe means destruction to the rebellious children. Talking about God's chosen people. This is his people that he chose. Read.
Save the Lord. That take counsel, but not from.
That do what?
That take counsel, but not of me.
Right. They didn't want to take advice from Moses, who was a man of the Lord. They wanted to go back under the bondage of the Egyptians. Read.
And that cover with a cover, but not of my spirit.
They didn't want to go through the purging process to get all of that dross off that Egypt had put on them at that time, to put on the fruits of the Spirit. One of the fruits of the Spirit, when you go to Galatians 5 and 22, is long-suffering, patient. Right? That's something that a stubborn child, a spoiled child doesn't have. They want everything right now, just like this microwave generation. We don't want to work hard. We don't want to wait for anything, right? But this is what our forefathers did as well. They didn't have that virtue that comes with being in line with the Heavenly Father. They didn't realize, they didn't have joy, right, at being brought from under the rulership of the oppressors. Even though they was in the wilderness, they didn't consider the things they were relieved from. Those 10-day work weeks, right? Go ahead, sis. Covered with the covering, meaning that you are protected. When we move in the spirit of the Heavenly Father, right? When you go to Psalms, 91? Yeah, when you go to Psalms 91, it talks about how we'll be covered because when we're moving in the mind of the Most High, right? That's that covered with a covering. But they wanted to be covered with what? With the bond. It kept crying to go back where? To Egypt. Yeah, 91 and 4. Yeah. Well, which one?
That old chapter, really. I got a precept.
You got, go ahead, bring it up.
Lamentations 4 and 17.
Oh, okay, it is. Yeah, bring that.
Lamentations chapter 4 and verse 17.
Go ahead.
As for us, our eyes yet failed for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us.
Right. So instead of going back and asking the Father, they did what? We did what? We constantly murmured and wanted Egypt to save us. We wanted not only Egypt to save us, but we was running back to that abusive relationship, that toxic situation, right? That abusive spouse. When the Most High freed us from that. You see that, sis? That's the covering that we want. Instead of that freedom, that peace that comes with serving the Father. Right? Who else had their hand up? Go ahead, Aaron.
I have two precepts, I believe. You determine which one you want to use.
What you got?
Ecclesiasticus 11 and 25.
And what's the other one?
It says, Ecclesiastes 11 verse 25, it says, in the day of prosperity.
There's a forgetfulness here. Read that. Make sure everybody's there. Yeah, that's on point. Read that at Ecclesiastes 11:25.
Ecclesiastes chapter 11 verse 25. Mm-hmm. In the day of prosperity, there is a forgetfulness of affliction.
Right. So when you up, when you're doing good, when that bank account is not in the negative anymore. You forget when you was praying and crying out to the Father just for somebody to give you a donation. Somebody drop somebody cash at me something. Right? Somebody go get me something to eat, please. You forgot about that because now what? Your income tax came in. Now you rolling. Now you highballing right now. Right? You got your nose in the air. Right? Read.
And in the day of affliction,
right?
There is no more remembrance of prosperity.
And that's what our forefathers were doing and our ancestors were doing. We were forgetful. We were forgetful of how bad Egypt was for us. We was forgetful about the glorious, wonderful things the Most High did to deliver us from that bad situation. You see that? Because the scriptures talk about, I know how to be abased and I know how to be abound. Meaning I know how to be joyful whether things is going good or things is a little bit, okay, I don't know where the blessings coming from. But patience, right? When you have patience and when you have real love for serving the Most High, when you have real love for everything that Yahweh Shai, who is Jesus Christ in Hebrew, When we say Yahweh Shai, that's Jesus Christ's name in Hebrew. When we have real love for what he did for us, then we will be able to endure all situations. Because look at what Christ endured for us. He took the standard of the Most High from life all the way to death. Y'all see that? But we couldn't deal with a little bit of uncomfortability. And remember, we left Egypt with the best. We left Egypt with the best of the best. But we still were complaining. Y'all see that? Because just like the scripture, there's a forgetfulness. We can't be those same people today. Go back to that Isaiah. Good precept.
Good. Isaiah for the top.
Yeah, so it said, woe, destruction to the what? These stubborn, spoiled, unappreciative children. Right? Read.
Save the Lord.
Go ahead.
That take counsel, but not of me.
Right, we don't consider that the Most High. He has, was that Jeremiah? I know the brother, the Juan pulled it last couple weeks ago. Jeremiah 29:11. Yeah. The thoughts that I have toward you, thoughts of peace and not evil, to give us an expected end. We don't consider those things. We think just because we're down for the moment, oh, the Most High ain't with me. The Most High, I'm better off trusting in my job. No, the Most High just wants you to develop long suffering. He wants to really see if you're really about him. Read.
And they cover what they cover, but not of my spirit.
Read.
That they may add sin to sin.
Right, because we read it time after time. The people murmur. The people got blessed, they murmured. They got blessed, they murmured. Right? Hold on. That back and forth, that double-mindedness, that's unstable. The Most High doesn't deal with that. Y'all see that? Keep reading.
Verse 2. That walk to go down into Egypt.
We'd rather go back into bondage. We don't even realize the freedom that this truth has given us. To where now we don't call ourselves the color of a garment. We don't call ourselves two different countries. We have a heritage that wasn't given to us by people that don't look like us. We know that we're God's chosen people. We know that who the real Jews are. Right? And at this time, they definitely know. There wasn't no bywords and bywords for them and bywords for them. These were gods, so these are lineages. Oh, I know who I am. I'm a Levite. I am a Judite. I am an Israelite. Right? Read on.
And have not asked at my mouth.
Right.
To strengthen it.
Come on, read it with strength. If you want to read, I need you to read clear. Let's go.
To strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh.
Right, so we rather trust in who? Now, we ain't trusting in Egypt today, but who do we rather trust in? America. Right? And everything that they tell us is valuable. Right? They tell you your financial stability. Right? But as soon as the stock market go crazy, as soon as the recession comes, they doing what? They jumping off buildings. They putting the 45 in their mouth and they're unliving themselves. You know, you got to say that on social media so they don't ban you. They unliving themselves, right? But this is the instability that they have and what they trust in, the powers that they trust in. They don't trust in the Most High power. They trust in these carnal things that can, boom, like that, be gone, be taken away, right? Read on.
And to trust in the shadow of Egypt.
Right, so instead of being, because what does the shadow do? A shadow protects us from the rays of the sun. It cools you down. You stand in that hot Virginia Beach sun, you be looking for a shadow, right? Right? You sitting out there sweating. I know I sweat. Y'all know I sweat, so I'll be looking for the shadow all the time. I need the shadow, I need the AC, cold water, all that. But see, but now in the spirit, who are you looking to protect you? Who are you looking to comfort you? Who are you looking to shield you? Is it America and everything that they told you? Oh yeah, I'm proud to be an American. Meanwhile, they still lynching black men today. 2023, they still hanging us. But we trusting in them. How foolish are we? You just got led out of captivity, but you still talking about the delights, what you ate? That's insane. What you have, bro?
I got a precept to go exactly with what you're saying.
Okay, hold on. You got let him finish reading.
Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame.
Be your shame. And that's what we see here today in right now in our modern times. Everything that we trusted in. So they told you, right, if you want to get out the hood, the only way to get out the hood is to get a PhD, a BA, associates, and nothing's wrong with that. Let that be clear. Because we got college grads in here. We got high-level college grads within our camp. We got a brother that was at, what's the brother, Ariana's going. One of the brothers was at Harvard. So there's nothing wrong. You should be able to do that. Because if you got the Most High's wisdom, we say you can do all things. So it should be nothing for you to get a PhD if that's what you want. Now, what are you going to use it for? Is this something that you're going to now be confident in? I got a PhD, so now I can get, and the Most High take that from you in a heartbeat. You know how you take it from you? You'll have that diploma on your wall collecting dust while you still looking for jobs. You on Indeed.com. You working at Wawa's when you got a bachelor's. Now again, ain't nothing wrong with working at Wawa's, but you put your trust in having a profitable, successful life in carnal things, and not in the creator. Right? We don't.
And the trust in the shadow of Egypt.
Read.
Your confusion.
Read verse 3. Read verse 3.
Therefore, shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame.
Right.
And the trust in the shadow of Egypt, your confusion.
Your confusion. Because you thought to trust in America, its system, its stability. Now when the Most High starts crumbling, the pandemic happened. Look how people were confused. You had the Christian, I remember seeing the Christian pastor that was crying. Because he said, I didn't know this was going to happen. What Bible were you reading? You didn't know that the Most High was going to pour out the seals on this place. Really? Send the plagues on this place. He was supposed to be not only preparing himself as a believer of the Most High, as a believer of the Bible, that these things was going to happen. He's going to be preparing his flock. Wow. That's why you got a lot of our people who don't believe in the Bible because they're not preparing them for what's to come. Y'all see that? But what's going to happen is a woe, destruction to these rebellious children. But yeah, that was it. I don't want to keep it too long. Somebody else had something. Oh, not Tazak.
Just to go exactly what you're saying, how we can relate to this in today's time.
Revelation chapter 11 and verse 8. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where our Lord also was crucified.
Yeah, what made you pull that one? I like that one.
It's important to remember the days of old to understand the minds of our people when they rebelled against the Most High. It's because it's literally just a repeat of what we see today of how America is. They want to trust in Pharaoh, and just like how we do, we want to trust in America to live comfortably, but we don't want to trust in the Most High. So.
Right. And it said where our Lord is crucified, when they crucified Christ by teaching you this. By killing his real reputation of what he lived for, what he came for, who he was going to save. Right? They make you think that he's coming back kissing babies and he's going to have a lamb sitting on his lap. You see all these foolish pictures of him. Right? He's this docile hippie, right? That dressed like a Greek in his toga. But they don't tell you about how he's coming back with the wine presses to where his garment looked like it's so much blood on his garment, looked like he was starving wine. See, they kill and crucify him because everything that he stood for, they don't teach you that. Right? So you don't believe in this man that really walked the earth, that was also able to conquer his own mind. He didn't have to trust in the system of the Romans at that time. He trusted in the Father. And he was rewarded with eternal life. Y'all see that?
Come on.
Right. So let's jump back to the reading.
Numbers chapter 14, verse 12.
Go ahead. You got it? Oh, go ahead.
Verse 12. I will smite them with the pestilence, and this inherit them, and I will make thee a greater nation, and mightier than they.
Wait, read that one more time.
Verse 12. I will smite them with the pestilence, and disinherit them, and will make thee a greater nation and mightier than they.
This is the Most High telling Moses he was going to eradicate Israel and make a nation based off of him.
The congregation that was trying to stone him, does that include the 70 elders that were anointed, or is that like everybody else?
Well, in this scenario, it's not necessarily highlighting the 70 elders, but it didn't highlight them, it didn't say it. But I know right now it's talking about, that's a good question. Let me see, hold on. Let me read that one more again. Hold on, let me refresh myself.
Question?
Hold on, let me answer this. Well, it's not pointing out the 70 elders here, but it is talking about the congregation. So I gotta reread that just to kind of catch the little nuance of it.
That was my question, sir. Whether or not she was talking about verse 10.
Verse 10?
Yeah. But you just quoted it.
Yeah. I want to catch the nuance, so I'm going to reread that and then catch it. I'm trying to catch it. But, because it is saying the words all, but I want to make sure, I want to be sure I don't want to just give you a rash answer. Alright? So, read verse 12.
Verse 12. I will smite thee with pestilence, and disinherit them, and I am its lot, and will make thee a greater nation and mightier than they.
Yeah, this is the Most High is telling Moses that he's going to take out Israel because Israel is basically being disobedient. They're being disobedient constantly, over and over and over. One minute they're locked in, another minute they're locked out, right? They're out the spirit. And you know what he's saying here is that showing that he don't really need us. The Most High don't really need us. He can make anything serve him and serve them with their whole heart. So what makes us really valuable to the Father is what we figured out right here. Is that we actually have a desire to do righteousness and that we're actually doing it. And that's what makes us valuable to the Most High. But what we're also going to see is the character of the man leading us. Right? You'll see the sincerity of his love in this moment. And those are defining moments that show you this. These moments, it should have woke the people up to be like, damn, I'm tripping. I'm out the spirit. Because it's just about what we're about to read with Moses. Go ahead.
Verse 13. And Moses said unto the Most High, then the Egyptians shall hear it. For thou broughtest up this people in thy might from among them.
Right. And you see that? Moses is over here, nice, reasoning with the Most High to show him, don't take the people out. Don't destroy them. And we're realizing Moses' heart. Right? And I think a lot of times you'll miss them showing you the transparency of their love when they do certain things in certain councils, in certain conversations, in certain gestures or things that they do, you will overlook it when they're showing you the transparency of their heart. But because you're wallowing in the thoughts of your mind, you're not able to see it. But this was a moment for the people to slow down and see the Most High's love and Moses' love in the spirit of the Most High for them. And get Jeremiah 8:21. Because this is where this is where all the righteous men were. And this is an important part because this is a very important part because we deal with it now. When you're coming in, I know God said a lot where it's like you're examining us, but then we're examining you. But then it should get to a point where the examination, as far as the sincerity of somebody's love, It should be no spooky eye looking at some certain point in time, right? When you've been around and you've seen the moments, the counsels, the dedication, the consistency, the love, the patience, the kindness. When you see those things over time, that grain of seed that's like, well, what is these brothers really up to? Are they really up to what they making it seem like they're really up to? Like that thought should cast out. But this is a moment where the people's thoughts should be casting out. The demons should be able to come in. Because this is a moment where they could have got wiped out.
Right.
But this righteous man who they wanted to stone, right, didn't render evil for evil. Or relevant for relevant. But what did he do? He reasoned with the Father to have mercy on them. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And this is a transparent moment of love. Read.
Jeremiah chapter 8 and verse 21. For the hurt of the daughter of my people.
Because Moses seen their hurt. Moses looking at them. This is a people that's battered and bruised, Yahweh. This is people that were slaves for years, Yahweh. I seen them while they were slaving. Right? I left. I seen it. I came back. It was worse from the time I left. So he understood that everybody was here was spiritually. What's the word I'm looking for? It was spiritually like beat, depleted. They were lacking, right? Destroyed, demented. They weren't in their right state of mind. And then him seeing that, that's him showing his love to the people. But that's supposed to relax their spirit, though, at the same time.
Yeah.
Relax their mind. Like, whoa, we must have been tripping. That should get you to bethink yourself, a humble person. It should get you to bethink yourself and ponder on your actions, your deeds, and reflect. You be like, I need to change. These brothers are showing me love. These sisters are showing me love. They give me nothing but counsel, conversations. I need help. They ask me if I need help. Shoot, right. Just the act of them asking, do I need help? Mm-hmm. Do you need something? We got you. You need help with anything? You need a ride? You need this? Like, it's getting asked. And this is a moment of the love being transparent. Read.
It says, for the hurt of the daughter of my people.
Because Moses feel their pain. But he's not sorrowing with them like a worldly person. Right? They're emotional, so they smoking weed because they're emotional. He's like, bro, just be a good brother, bro. Just smoke it, bro. Just hit it with me, bro. Like, just once. Maybe twice. Right? He's not like, he's not doing that, right? Yeah. He's sorrowing them after the Spirit of the Lord. He's being stern, he's being firm, and he's being faithful. And he's being courageous because they're being weak. And that you might be that one person that's being strong in that moment. So you gotta stand tall.
God.
Read.
Am I hurt?
But he feels the hurt. Read.
I am black.
Oh, right. And it goes on, right? But obviously, right, that black is twofold. You feel the hurt. You feel the hurt, you feel the sorrow. He's I'm black. Read.
Astonishment have taken hold on me.
Yeah, you're in shock because you're like, damn, these people are really destroyed. Our people are really destroyed. Our nation is really destroyed. And that's how we're supposed to feel now. And when we see those things, we're supposed to hurt with our people according to the scripture, though. And that hurt leads you to changing. That hurt leads you to growing. And that's what's supposed to be happening. You know, and that's what Moses is seeing. And that hurt is supposed to lead you to have compassion on the people. Right? Because we're hurt. We've been destroyed, we've been beat, people have been raped, people have been touched, right? People have been abused, people have been beat down. And you got to see that the Most High, is trying to show you that you're hurt. Your brothers and sisters are hurt. Have patience with each other. If you're married, have patience with your wife. If you're a wife, have patience with your husband. Because everybody's been hurt somehow, some way. But we're all trying to get healing. So why not be on the same team and have compassion on each other?
Right.
Still be honest. Still tell the truth. Still give them what they need to hear. But why don't we have compassion on each other? Forbearing one another. And that's what the spirit Moses was in. But he did that so that the people can follow that example.
Right.
And it was the right thing to do. But jump back to me.
Okay.
Numbers chapter 14, verse 13. And Moses said unto the Most High, then the Egyptians said, hear it. For thou broughtest up this people in thy might from among them, and they will tell it to the inhabitants of the land. For they have heard that the Most High art among this people, that thou, Most High, art seen face to face, and that the clouds stand over them, and that thou goest before them by daytime in a pillar of a cloud, and a pillar of fire by night. Now, if thou shalt kill all this people as one man, then the nations which have heard the frame of thee will speak, saying, because the Most High was not able to bring this people into the land which he sware unto them, therefore he has slain them in the wilderness.
Right, and he's just pointing out why the Most High. He's pointing out why he explained all these things to the Most High. He's like, well, if I don't, he's if you destroy these people and try to make a nation after me, the nation's gonna look at you and be like, well, you didn't do it. You did that because you couldn't save them.
Right.
Right? In their mind, they're gonna have this egotistical thought like, God wasn't real anyways. Please. That was probably a story they told about you. So they're not gonna believe it. And they're gonna think that they're powerful. That the people just was afraid. That the Most High was afraid. And that's why Moses was like, you can't do it that way. He was pleading this way. He was using wisdom with the Most High. The Most High know it, obviously. But the Most High, because of that man's love and his sincerity and his determination to save the people's lives, the Most High was like, listen. So we'll read on.
Yeah, and just like, somebody get Isaiah 48. Isaiah 48 and 11. Because you got to understand what the Most High, and it's beautiful because Moses was showing you that he was in the mind of the Most High at this time, right? Because you talk about like Islam, they talk about the prophet Muhammad. Yep. Well, what prophecies did Muhammad ever prophesy? Right? We watch our nation at this time, the whole world at this time, watch the Creator of heaven and earth do things that nobody was able to do. Right? Turn the water into blood. Right? Flies, frogs, lights, darkness. Huh? All of these things that man can't do. Right? But he was doing it for our sake. Right? Now, if he killed us all, that negative mind, the way people think, they would have been like, what? Oh yeah, that was science that did that. Just like they do today. They try to take the power and the fame and the glory for the Most High by trying to justify it with science. Right? We read
Isaiah chapter 48 and verse 1. For mine own sake, even for mine own sake, will I do it.
Read.
For how should my name be polluted?
The Most High is not going to let his name be polluted. Right? He's not going to let everything he done come to naught. Because his name must be praised. Come? Read.
And I will not give my glory unto another.
Right. So Moses was actually in the same spirit of the Most High. The Most High was actually testing Moses to see how he was going to deal. Where his integrity was. Where his love for his people was. Because if you love the Father, how do you show that love? You got to show it through how you deal with your brother and sister. Especially the ones that talk bad in you. That's what Christ was saying about love your enemy. He wasn't talking about the enemy of the other nation. He's talking about your brother of your people. Right? Isn't that what Christ did? When he was on the cross, did he tell you how? Did he pray to the Most High? Yeah, kill all these jive turkeys. He didn't say that, right? He said, have mercy on them, Father. They know not what they do. Right? And then who followed after that? Stephen. Right? Did Stephen pray that the Most High send fire and kill him too? No. See, this is the mind of people that really love the Most High. They have compassion on the scriptures say, who have compassion on the ignorant and them that are out the way. But that's what we got to have for our people. So when we see our people out there on the streets where they're high, they're out there living lasciviousness, that over sexual desire. They living like Americans. We don't hate them. we don't like we don't like the spirit that they're giving themselves to. And we pray that the Most High has mercy to get them out of that mind state. Same way he did for us. Huh? And that's what Moses was showing us. I got two hands up. Go ahead, Ariel.
So Deuteronomy 4 verse 6, that talks about how we're supposed to be a nation of kings and priests.
Right.
But right now, we're not kings and priests. We're gangbangers, drug dealers, and all the other stuff that the Most High did not set us to.
Right. Right. That's deep. Yep. What you got, Vanessa? Say what?
1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 40.
Do all things as easy. He like that. Right? Yeah, hold that. Good scripture though. We are supposed to be doing things. You know what? The people were out of order right here, and we established that because Moses was set up as that leader, right? And if you have any questions, you can ask. You gotta come in the right kind of manner though. But these people were complaining. They're ready to kill him with stones. So you're right. Yeah, they should have been doing things in decency and order. What you got?
Deuteronomy 8 and 2, Exodus 20 and 20. I was thinking that how it was such a beautiful thing that Moses. Most High said, I chose Moses because I know he would govern this house. Mm-hmm. Right? So he spoke with Moses face to face. So the order was God spoke to Moses, Moses speaks to the people, even the leaders and the elders.
Right.
And in doing that, Moses, when speaking with God, right, of the angel of the Lord, he's giving him all the insights, right? He's giving him, that, okay, I'm going to test these people, right? Mm-hmm. Because I know they got that broken down and that unrighteous mind frame. Because I was bringing them out of Egypt where they're a slave. They got that heavy mentality. They got that I can't never have enough, or I can't get out of this, right? They got that mind state of the defeated mind state, a weak mind state, right? So, and God is teaching them that I created you upright, right? But you've been raised to act like beasts, right? But I created you upright. So, Moses said to the children of Israel, fear not, right? For the Lord has come to prove you, right? It says in Exodus chapter 20, verse 20, it says, no.
20 and 20?
21, sorry. Exodus 20 and 20. And Moses said unto the people, fear not, for God is come to prove you, and that his fear may be before your faces, that ye sin not. Yeah, because the Most High, because Moses spoke with him. Moses had that, first-hand account relationship. So he understood what God was doing, what God's plan was for the children of Israel, for us. Right? And so Moses was giving us the insight. Hey, look, I'm giving y'all insight right now. Don't fear, because he's coming to prove you. Everything he's doing and everything he's going to do is to prove you. So don't evade yourself from going through this affliction. Don't evade yourself from hearing and understanding what I'm saying to you, because God told me to say this so he can prove you, so he can raise you up to be that great and mighty nation, that wise and just nation before everyone upon the face of the earth.
Right.
But we didn't take that. We didn't see that little lesson that Moses was showing us. We didn't say, why would Moses say that? He come to prove us. We didn't look at that.
We didn't understand what the wilderness was about.
No.
That was the purging process. That was the experience that we were supposed to get closer to the Father, right? And this is why we got to remember, the Most High is a consuming fire. He wants to purge off all of the Egyptian, American, the Roman, every captivity that we was in. We learned the customs and ways of the heathen. So you're right. we, the Most High, take it through this, basically like a spiritual car wash. Right? You're gonna go through this car, but it's gonna test you. It's gonna try you to see where your mind is at. If you're really about serving Him. Yeah. You can go back. Go back to the reading. We left off at
Numbers chapter 14, verse 17. And now I beseech you, let the power of my Lord be great, according as thou hast spoken, saying, the Most High is long-suffering and of great mercy, forgiving iniquity and transgression, and by no means clearing the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers.
What's funny is when you listen to this, the whole thing. Oh, well, finish the verse.
Visiting the iniquities of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation.
Yeah, saying, Lord, you know they ain't gonna get away with it. The son's gonna get with the father is sending his sin on the son. It's like in America what they do now. Parents die, you inherit their debt. Right? It's like, man, come on now, the kid's gonna inherit the parents' debt anyways. So let them live. But we know that now that's not a thing anymore, obviously, right? And go to Ezekiel 18 and verse 20. Because this is the reason why. Read verse 19 just to give the reason why it's not a thing anymore. And then we go read verse 20 to show that it's not a thing anymore.
Ezekiel chapter 18 and verse 19.
Mm-hmm.
Yet
well, let the sister get there. Let's wait for the sister to get there. So, and we're going to see why that's not a thing anymore, but just highlighting on it being enacted in that moment, Moses was showing that they don't get away with it anyway, Father. Let's let them live. Let's let them go through it in hopes that, that they change, that they break forth, that they come out of that mind, that weak nature. Because the Most High is trying to save us, but the people don't see it. Give them some time, Yahweh. And then hopefully they'll snap into it. And we know who snapped into it. Right? And obviously we know the end of the story, but just to really reading the details and things that happen along the way so that we can get the history of, like you said earlier, which is what? How to avoid falling into that same path. So read that same thing.
Ezekiel chapter 18 and verse 19. Yet say ye, why? Doth not the Son bear the iniquity of the Father?
Yeah, you say, why? Doth not the Son bear the iniquity of the Father? Read.
When the Son have done that which is lawful and right, and hath kept all my statutes, and have done them, he shall surely live.
You see that? That's why. Because the Son was living right. So why should he have to bear the iniquity of his father if he's doing right? Right? He only didn't inherit that debt.
Verse 20. The soul that sinneth, it shall die.
So now you're going to bear your own iniquity. You, the individual, your kid ain't going to have to bear your iniquity. Right? You're going to have to bear it. Read.
The Son shall not bear the iniquity of the Father.
Right?
Neither shall the Father bear the iniquity of the Son.
So if you're that disobedient child, you're right. Your father ain't your shield. The Most High is going to deal with you. Right? So your father can't shield you. All he can shield you with is the wisdom and tell you how to get on the right path. But you got to use the wisdom. You got to trust the wisdom. You got to believe in the wisdom. So read on.
The righteousness of the righteous shall be upon him.
Right. If you're righteous, well, righteousness don't happen to you. If you, what? Read.
And the wickedness of the wicked shall be upon him.
And if you do wickedness, well, the wickedness is going to come upon you. And it's not going to be on anybody else. Right? So you're gonna bear your own sin. You're gonna bear your own iniquity. Somebody else is not gonna carry your burden in the negative sense. Right? Because we know we carry each other's burden in the righteous sense. Right? We help each other hold up their weight. So, but y'all understand that, right? Okay. Just wanted to throw that in there. But let's jump back to the reading.
Numbers chapter 14, verse 19. Pardon, I beseech the iniquity of this people, according unto the greatness of thy mercy, forgiven this people from Egypt, even now.
And just take your time and enunciate the words and capture them. Catch the words. Don't let the word catch you. Alright?
And the Most High said, I have pardoned according to thy word. But as truly as I live, all the earth shall be filled with the glory of the Most High. Because all those men which have seen my glory and my mercy and my miracles, which I did in Egypt and in the wilderness, and have tempted me now these 10 times, and have not hearkened to my voice. Surely they shall not see the land which I swear unto their fathers.
Right, they're not getting away with it. So it's not like when you do negative, you can't get that blessing that you want. You can't get that thing that you desire. Right? Because why? You give yourself the negative. So it's like, okay, Father, there's no point in taking them out because you know how you live. You know you're not gonna get them no blessing. They're not gonna get no pass. They're not gonna be able to enter. They're gonna die in this wilderness. Read.
Neither shall any of them that provoke me see it, but my servant Caleb, because he had another spirit with him, and had followed me fully.
He did what?
Followed me fully.
That means he didn't murmur. He didn't complain. He didn't get upset with the position that the Most High put him in.
Mm-hmm.
He played his role.
Yeah.
Right? When he was in his I want to say rookie season, he mastered being a rookie.
God.
When he went into sophomore season, he mastered being a sophomore.
Yeah.
When he went to a junior, he mastered junior. And when he went into senior, he played his position. Right? And now he's able to avoid the things that he's doing now, which has led him to what? Following the Lord fully and literally giving his life. So that means when you come in, you got to get the understanding of what you're doing, why you're doing it, and what's supposed to be motivating you to keep on doing it.
God.
So, we'll read on.
Him will I bring unto the land, whereunto he went, and his seed shall possess it.
Right. So now he inherits that blessing that everybody was supposed to be able to inherit. Not just him alone, obviously. There's going to be some people coming in with him.
Yeah.
But it's going to be the children. Read.
Now the Amalekites and the Canaanites dwelt in the valley. Tomorrow turn you and get you unto the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea.
Right. And that's end of the first reading portion. That wasn't purposeful. It wasn't me. That wasn't on purpose.
You like it? I love it. If you love it, I love it even more.
You sing the song, I write the lyrics.
I'm singing for it. God.
That one.
Natazak, Chanakah, Shabbat Shol, Yahawada, Ban Yashala.
Natazak Chanachah, Shabbat Shol, Yahawada, Ban Yashrala, men of Israel. Imagine, Barak.
Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah Brakatum.
Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah Brakatum.
That Natazak Chanachah almost tripped me up. Natazak Chanachah.
Yeah, he said it right.
Nah, it's maybe mess up on the kind of. He like add like an extra sentence. His name adds an extra sentence to state in the registry. His name is a sentence in itself. So this is the second reading. So he's going to read Numbers 14, Numbers chapter 14, verse 26 through Numbers chapter 15 and verse 5.
Numbers chapter 14 and verse 26. And the Most High spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, How long shall I bear with this evil congregation, which murmur against me? I have heard the murmurings of the children of Israel, which they murmur against me. Say unto them, As truly as I live, saith the Most High, as ye have spoken in my ears, so will I do to you. Your carcass shall fall in this wilderness, and all that were numbered of you according to your whole number.
So what is he saying? There's death and life in the power of the tongue. So they spoke themselves into death. Right? For as a man thinketh, so is it.
That's right.
Right? So that's what they did. They manifested what they wanted. They wanted the death. They got the death. So they brought evil to their doorsteps. Right? The Most High, okay, I'm gonna step back. I'm gonna let you go through that. You're gonna pass away. You're gonna die. Right? You're gonna die in the wilderness because of your stubbornness. So we gotta say, we gotta ask ourselves, what are we holding on to that would get us slaughtered like these people right here?
Right.
That would leave us dead in the wilderness like the brothers and sisters right here. Because they're not thinking, it's not like they had it's not like there was some word that existed, some form of negative spirit that existed at that time that don't exist right now. This wasn't something magical that just happened. This is a literal instance of people having day-to-day negative thoughts that they're engaged in. Right? Day-to-day negativity that they're allowing themselves to entertain and fall in love with. Right? And they're giving themselves to it. So it's like he's saying, your carcasses shall fall in the wilderness, because you called it. They called death to them. Oh, what's that one?
God.
Oh, you got it?
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 1 and verse 16.
Oh, go ahead.
With your brain.
All right.
God. But ungodly men, with their works and words, called it to them.
Right. So, but ungodly men, with their works and their words, called it to them. So these men called death to themselves because they had the quitter spirit. That quitter spirit, that give up. I give up. I can't fight.
Defeated.
Yeah, you feel defeated. Right? You feel defeated. It's different things that can discourage you. Right? Especially now, in this time, right? Because our mindset is even more weaker than theirs. Our mindset is way more weaker because they would be raised as warriors, right? From a youth up. And with us being weaker, your tire being flat will take you out of the spirit. Right? You not being able to pay rent on time, but the rent money you got 5 days before you be late. You're like, damn, I'm trying to pay it on the first. But you know that the third day the money gonna come through. You know without a shadow of a doubt the money come through, but you're still stressing because you want to pay it on the first. So that'll discourage you. Right? You woke up 2 seconds late, that'll discourage you. Like different things. Like this